Who else we have on there? Yes, we have Joanne Matthews. Beautiful, blessed night, she says to everybody. Yes, sir. Great, great, great. So we have people in Tobago, Trinidad. We have people from a different parts that have been viewing us. We are so happy. This evening, we have a guest on, and this guest is going to be addressing the issue of the stories of fathers. We talk about the deadbeat dads, and we give emphasis on the wrongs and the ones that are, may not be keeping up to their responsibilities. But what about those who really want to? What about those who striving to be good fathers? Are we supportive of those men and those fathers? Is the system supporting men? Well, we're going to find out tonight because we have a gentleman who is the president of Fathers Association, and he knows what's happening. He's on the ground, his ears are to the ground, he feels the vibration of the society out there, and he's going to tell us what is going to happen. He's a gentleman, he doesn't hold bars, he doesn't hold back, he don't put water in his mouth to talk. And so you will find out tonight, you see, because he afraid nobody. He fights for men. I've known him a couple of years, and I admire the way how he supports men, and he gives men the kind of support that men looking for. And he has a system, an organization that provides a safe space to be able to find answers. He has been able to bring in resource people to be able to advise them. You're going to hear about that. You're going to hear about that. Yes. So over the last couple of weeks, we've been giving away and so on. I want to thank those who have been giving away on our program. I want to thank our sponsors, Denz Electronics. We got to tell you, Denz Electronics, once you want things electrical, you go there. Denz Electronics, we've had Rapid Response Security Services, we have Toll School Center and Double B Enterprises. We are thankful for them. We also have people who have been giving away. Craftsman gave away, a gentleman went there and got a voucher. We have West Side Electrical, they gave away, a gentleman went there and he got, yeah, two gentlemen. And then we have Gemma's Seafood Restaurant, who gave away lunch for two, and a woman and I guess a gentleman again going to go there. This evening we're going to give away. But here now you got to listen to what Mr. Phil is saying, because the question is going to come based on what he has said. Yeah, to get tonight's giveaway. We're going to give a man, well, we have something that we're going to give a man. There's a hammer drill. You all could use a hammer drill? Yes. And I wanted to restrict it to the men tonight. The other night it wasn't restricted to the men, but tonight. I take license to be biased tonight in giving away to the men. All right. So, Mr. Director, let's take the ad and then we come back for the program.
In today's society, we need security that is trustworthy, reliable, and efficient. Rapid Response Security Services Limited is here to meet all your needs. Since 1990, this security company leads while others follow, with a commitment to provide satisfaction in service. We specialize in modern and professional security systems. Contact us at 639-3675 or 660-7418, or visit us at the Blue and White Building, Mount Mary, Scarborough, Tobago.
Denz Electronics, first floor, Port Mall Shopping Center, corner Sangsas and Milford Road, Scarborough, Tobago. Telephone number 639-3497 or 345-0470. When it comes to electronics, check Denz Electronics and just say, I heard it on Mike at Night.
Don't let the weather of the day dictate your pace. I stayed cool every time I got into my vehicle, and you can too. At Tow School Center of 31 Gaskin Bay Road, Bonaccord, they specialize in auto air conditioning with parts and services catering to your car's needs. Call and ask for tows at 660-8777 or 788-3535. Tow School Center, where a comfortable ride is a cool ride.
Double B Supermarket, 60 to 62 Government House Road, Scarborough, Tobago. All items reasonably priced, friendly staff. If you don't believe me, you call them 639-5329. If you ask them any question, they'll tell you Jesus is the answer. Not many persons know what it is like to be born with no arms.
And I was blessed to be born without arms and impaired use of my legs.
Renowned author, motivational speaker par excellence, soon to be movie star, and my friend, Hope Coach Tawana Williams, born with no arms. Tune in to Mike at Night, March 3rd at 9 p.m. on Label TV Network, on Facebook and YouTube.
She actually draws portraits with her toes. I can believe it, I can achieve it, and I'm going to do it. And
I was born to win. I've experienced abortion, motherhood, and as I said, a stroke. But guess what? I'm still here.
Hope Coach Tawana Williams, unarmed and dangerous. Yes, and welcome back. Welcome back. That program, you got to stand by to listen to that one. That's an awesome program. That one with Tawana Williams, the Hope Coach. Yes, but tonight we're talking about men. We're talking about some of the struggles. I understand that men really, really struggle. I understand some of the struggles that they have are imposed upon them. It is not of their own volition that they don't take care of their children. But you see me, I going to drink my water and mind my business. Welcome, Mr. Fields.
Well, thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
Wonderful. Yes. Yep. Mr. Director, I find that song like a bucket of water just threw it in. Yes, Mr. Fields is just from another event. He's a busy man. But thank you very much for coming. Fathers Association. Just give us a background. What is Fathers Association?
Well, people would have known us previously. I mean, we were named the Single Fathers Association at Trinidad and Tobago, and I think we are around long enough for people to know how we really came about, the inception, and my story and my journey of the issues I had when it came to me fighting for right to be a part of my son's life. And I always tell people that wasn't spurred on solely by the fact that I was a father, but also that I was a son without a father. So I understood the significance there of having a father. Particularly, that spurred me more than anything else, because it then gave me the desire to ensure that I did all that I can do to make sure that my son would know and would know me being in his memories of graduations and memories of PTAs and memories, things that I didn't have. So
you also struggled to assert your right to be in your child's life also?
Of course. And that was the whole genesis. That was the whole genesis of it. I decided at that point, I said, a man needs to have a voice, and a man must. At that time, I was advocating for stuff in the foreign news industry, based on my occupation. And I said, if I could fight for a motor car, I could definitely advocate on the rights of being a father and being involved in the child's life.
Yes, sir.
And I split on from there. And then I recently, we would have then broadened the horizon from just single fathers, and I mean encompass fathers, because over the years, we've been representative of fatherhood generally, all different types of fathers, married fathers, single fathers, fathers who are widowed as well. You understand, widowers. And so, I mean, we've been representative of all types of fathers, so we decided to just rebrand and call it the Fathers Association at Trinidad and Tobago.
Right, okay. So, are men responding well to the organization and their advocacy?
Always, men have always responded well. Now we see women responding well as well. So, I mean, society generally has taken up. In the inception, it was more about, back in the day, deadbeat dad was more that thing that you would have heard. I would have heard that phrase a lot more. But in Trinidad, I mean, single father had become prominent now because of the advocacy of the Single Fathers Association. Mm-hmm. And now we're actually seeing, I mean, people having a lot more respect for fathers in society. You've seen it in the court system now. You've seen it generally within our own social space. You've seen it now. I mean, even when you see advocates advocating now, they're no longer just advocating on issues pertaining to mothers alone. You hear them mentioning fathers now. Media, when you're reporting, you hear them mention fathers and things that are important to fatherhood now. So I think we've made a big impact and a dent on society generally. And I think we've been here for the last 10 or 11 years, and it's been a pleasure for me to even witness young boys who are 13 and 11 and 12 who grew up watching me advocate and watching the Fathers Association advocate and become fathers themselves. And then, I mean, meet up with them sometimes they message or inbox and talk about the positive impact it would have had on them, seeing the way that we persisted that fathers be involved in their children's lives and encourage them to be fathers and better fathers at this point in time in their life.
Right. Yes. Yes. You know, and as you spoke there, I see whenever they do intimate domestic violence, intimate partner domestic violence. Sometimes I
Right.
see that it seems to have it's skewed towards that it is only the women are the victims of violence whenever these seminars are held, and that has been a concern to a number of men, that you give it this general term, but yet you specify it in the seminars itself, that it is that it makes it appear as though it's women. When they say gender-based violence and so on, it is also skewed and doesn't take in an encompass. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, and it's because, I mean, some people don't call it out. I was glad to hear you say he don't pour water in his mouth, and that's the reality. I don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to be able to put things out there when you see the wrong thing taking place. And I've always championed when I've seen bad advocacy. I've always called it out. I've always pinpointed when possibly there's bias messaging coming from state, or sometimes they see the TTPS running one type of ad when the gender-based violence unit putting ads out and talking about intimate partner violence, domestic violence, and then they're only projecting the imagery of a woman being abused, and not
Yes.
showing the whole depths of what domestic violence is and what intimate partner violence is. Intimate
Right.
partner violence is a subset of domestic violence. So it's very important, and I said that is one thing that we continued to call out, pinpoint. When we see bad ads coming from Ministry of State or from the Office of the Prime Minister, or coming from Social Development, that seem biased and seem slurred, whether it's bias towards men or bias against men, bias towards women or bias. Once there's a level of bias, we have called it out definitely, because the messaging is important. What we communicate to society is important. That is how our society will change. That's how we will develop. If we have the right messaging in society, if we communicate the right messages, if we keep sending the wrong messages out, then we're not educating or sensitizing or raising awareness properly. And we're going to misinform our society and end up with some of the problems that we had. Like that whole phrase. Look at that thing we did. This week we had that Valentine's Dad's program that we held for fathers and their daughters. And we did that with specificity for a reason. We wanted to definitely point out that that daughter is and that father relationship is a love relationship.
Yes.
It's been
Yes.
a
Yes. Yeah.
depiction all the time of a father and his daughter must have an a relationship with incest. That's something for
Yes.
some reason in society we'd like to depict. And I think it was the prime time on Valentine's Day for us to show, no, we are fathers who love their daughters in a
That's
different
right.
way.
How many contributions you gave out on that day?
100 fathers. We partnered with BP, which is a technology developer. They were the ones who worked with us also when we developed the court pay system, which now
Yes.
allows persons to not have to pay maintenance going in the court and stand up and wait. That was another thing we championed and had introduced, that there's
Yes.
now electronic forms of payment of child maintenance and receipts. So nobody needs to go by no court, and nobody say go to pay your child father, your child mother tax and your child father tax and all these emasculating comments that used to take place in the court.
Yes.
And
Yes.
not only emasculating comments, there was issues when it comes to job concern as well. People had to take time off to go and pay maintenance, time off to go and collect maintenance. And look at this time now. I boast of it now because court pay is what they needed to keep that maintenance thing in order during this pandemic.
Oh,
If it
yes,
was
yeah.
the old system, they
It
wouldn't
was
have been able to
timely.
use it. But because our technology was in place and preceded COVID, they were able to go full stream court pay when COVID began.
Right. So tell us some of the stories that fathers, because you are on the inside track. What are some of the stories of fathers who want to be fathers for their children, but may be hindered or stymied in some way from doing so?
I mean, we've heard a number of stories. I mean, whether it's a scenario, if it's a scenario with malicious accusation, as I said, which happens a lot between fathers and daughters, particularly fathers and daughters who father may have had custody or the father may have had meaningful access. One of the things we have seen done, and it's something that even the head of the gender-based violence unit have warned mothers seriously against, making false accusations of a sexual nature against the father to have or to gain custodial and a custodial advantage. If you understand, you go to the
Yes.
court to have the father automatically barred from the child and these kind of things. So that is one of the issues. Then we have the issue when it comes to co-parenting, where parents can't find a majority to end the intimate past relationship. And it's not gotten in the way of them being able to co-parent and understand it's what's actually more beneficial for the child and even more beneficial for their personal lives. It's a difficult thing, Mike. It's a difficult thing to do this on your own, you know. And I think many women are very frustrated when they try to do it on their own. I've spoken to many single mothers who, after taking my advice of co-parenting and sharing the child more with the father, allowing the father to have a better bond with the child, and also to take up his responsibility, not only of paying maintenance, but also of doing duties, the father's paternal duties of taking care of the child, raising the child as well, spending time with the child. Every time the child is with the father, it gives you the opportunity to now have a life. It gives you the opportunity to pursue your career, pursue a relationship, further your studies, do all these things. But I think the norm before, is that there was this stereotype, and I think possibly created possibly by the older generations of mothers, is that if you don't have a child with you all the time, it's like you abandon your child.
Right.
That's so
Yes.
So you and your husband break up, if the child is not in your care primarily, it's like if you don't love your child, you abandon the child, when really and truly, you're really depriving yourself of the opportunity to live your life. And I with a lot of younger mothers, I was able to explain that a number of them would have had court orders where the father had very, very minimal access. They would have on their own volition decided to change it because they understood by co-parenting, they can have a better life, a better personal life themselves.
You know, do you think that there are sometimes that men are set up for this a system, and I will tell you what I mean by setup. Whether this system seems to think that the role whenever a woman brings a man up for maintenance, his role is purely for financial maintenance, because I heard you intimating it in what you just said there just a while ago, purely financial. But that part that you spoke about of being part of the child's life in a connection, sometimes we miss that and we don't see that as a necessity once he just makes sure he pays his maintenance.
Correct. And as I said, it's an old methodology and an old archaic way of thinking. You mind your child. As always said, if you can't mind child, is mind chicken, is mind cow, is raise children. You understand?
Yes.
Mind your child. So even the language that we used was bad. And the thing is only once you mind your child and once you pay money inside of there, but that has nothing to do with the child. The child wants to be able to see daddy there. The child wants daddy's involvement. He wants, particularly a young boy, he wants imagery to look up to. He wants to feel secure. He wants to feel safe. I've spoken to so many young boys in particular. I was a young boy with a single mother as well. And I can tell you by the time we reach 13 and 14 and our voices deepen and we become taller and more strapped than our mothers, we usurp a certain level of authority and now believe that we are now mandated to protect them. Because automatically, we are now the biggest person in the house with the deepest voice. And they had to protect your mother if somebody come in the house, if a cockroach run in the house, if a frog pass through the house, if a lizard run in the house, I had to go and kill it. So at the end of the day, I've spoken to many young men who, when their mothers and fathers had good relationships, co-parent-wise, they opted to go live with their fathers because they said they still felt like a child when they lived with their fathers. They loved their mother
When
to
they
death.
live with their mothers.
When they felt like a child when they lived with their fathers.
With the father.
Reason being, when daddy is there, daddy is bigger than I am.
All right. So when you with the mother, it's as though you are more.
You are the protector of the fort.
Okay.
So you are the protect mommy because mommy, you are the boy. You are the man in the house because you have no other man older than you. So with their fathers, they had that sense of security that, hey, daddy will rise to protect me and I will go and support him. But I am not the first one. I am not the head. The head is above me in that scenario. But in scenarios, and I can tell you, as I say from a personal experience, being a young man who grew up with a single mother as well, you automatically assert that authority to protect.
Right.
And
now you
sometimes
spoke
you assert that authority at an age you're untrained to do so because you didn't see another man do it, and you're not prepared to do so because you are still a boy and you don't understand what you need to do. So it's a fearful experience many a time for a young boy in that scenario.
right. The poll question tonight is: do you believe that more can be done to help men who want to honor their roles as fathers? Do you believe, that's the poll question, and we're asking both men and women to answer. Do you believe that more can be done to help men who want to honor their roles as fathers? All right, share the live. Make sure you call somebody, tell them to be on with us tonight. We're talking about the stories of fathers. We're talking about men who want to be not deadbeat dads, but to be father and daddy in the children's life, both the boys and the girls, a necessity that we have in society for having the fathers back into the system. Mr. Randall Fields is our guest in studio, President Fathers Association, for those of you who have just joined us. Now, the question, Mr. Fields, is this. When there are so many stories, you spoke about when a man is accused of interfering with his child and so on. I was reading a story where a girl reported that her father interfered with her sexually. He would have spent some time in jail and a considerable period of time in the jail. The girl is now grown up and confessed to the father that the mother said to report that when the police came, because there was a breakdown between herself and the father. Particularly, I think the father had moved on to another relationship.
Right.
But the father is now hearing this after the fact, after he has already had his reputation and his life solid because of that. Have you heard some of those stories?
Yeah, many of those cases. We dealt with one particularly with a father who was, as I said, the custodial parent, the only parent. When the child went to mommy, child was cursed. It was a twin boy and girl. And the girl was cursed to say, if you come live with me, you'll be able to go to Disneyland and take care of this. But the reason we can't carry to Disneyland is because you live with daddy. And then she would have proceeded to tell the child what to say. And they would have done so. This dad was a health professional, so it put him in a lot of danger because he was a health care professional as well, dealing with children, dealing with adults in a medical way, right? So it put his job at jeopardy, embarrassed him publicly. So at the end of the day, all he could have done is come to us and seek some type of social exoneration. while the matter was going on, and was investigated and proven that there was no trauma, the child was not interfered with. The only thing he could seek after is to try to put it out on our platform so that people would know that he wasn't a rapist. People would know that he didn't sexually assault the child. And what happened also, he said, it's at first he and his daughter had to get counseling after because he lost a sense of trust in his daughter, that his daughter would have said this, even though he knew the mother had coerced her. It's like it was shocking for him too. Not that he loved her any less, but he became so much more careful, and that even after, because he regained custody of the children, and I think he's gone abroad with them now. But at the end of the day, it took a while for him to redevelop the trust, even that he had in his daughter. It took time for him and her to heal their relationship because what was said about him was so hurtful to him. And one thing that he said that stood out all the time, and I mean, there's other fathers, this has happened with two that we've represented. This has even happened to a grandmother who we have exonerated as well, of the paternal grandmother. So the mother coerced the son to say that his grandmother, which is the father's mother, would have sexually assaulted him. And it was all over the news there, and it was all over the place, all over here and all over there. And it was upon her exoneration, because we represented her. The feminists and them abandoned her. We represented her. The father and his brothers came to us and explained. We did a feature in the video about this, and the father says it's not true. And eventually they did the investigation, and the young man admitted that it wasn't true, that and stuff like that. And then we had to persist that Newsday, because Newsday, when they ran the article, put Granny charged for sexual assault on the front page. And we made Newsday. I called Newsday myself and said, I want you all to give this lady back the front page when you're exonerating her.
Yes.
Because she's been exonerated, and the dad previously was exonerated legally. But social exoneration is critical and important also. Because what was a lie sounds so true that even after legal exoneration, it's so easy to believe, people still look at these
have you stigmatized with it. Yeah.
Correct.
Is there any punitive measure, any consequence that these people suffer when they lie in order to incriminate somebody wrongfully?
None whatsoever. And it's something that I've lamented to the AG about. Is something that we raised at that Joint Select Committee here, and the Joint Select Committee here in 2018. The Joint Select Committee also made a recommendation to the Attorney General to bring legal legislation to criminalize these kind of things. And to date, nothing has been done. And this year particularly, we are going through the entire recommendations of that Joint Select Committee, and we've made some target, some bullet points, and we set some targets to have a lot of what the Joint Select Committee here. So Joint Select Committee recommended for the AG to have him do it. Some of the things have been executed, like court pay and these things, but things, particularly laws that are in existence that are not paid regard to, plus laws that need to come in existence as well, that we need that recommendation. We need him to take the Joint Select Committee recommendation very seriously, because they were totally in support of us. If you go and you Google that Joint Select Committee hearing on single fathers from 2018, it's open for anybody to be able to view the contents there.
So that brings us to the question whether the system is slow when it comes to being in support and in the corner of men, but very quick in a number of other areas. Is there a reason for that? Is it that men not advocating strong enough?
You can't advocate any stronger. The thing is, the society and what we care about, and it's now that we're now making things that is true, because it's becoming so glaring. I mean, this didn't only impact men. There was a lot of negative impact on males. It's only this last 2 to 3 weeks they have now decided that a woman can rape a man. Previously, a woman couldn't. It's just the recent CCJ hearing that has now made it able for a woman to legally be prosecuted of rape. Before, you needed to have a penis and you needed to penetrate. So only men could rape before. Women could only sexually assault. But now they're finding that women can now rape since that year. That's going to now create a common law practice, right? So we're seeing developments, some developments, but still another development we saw after heavy advocacy that was totally biased also was against boys. I always remember that years ago, the Sexual Offences Act, I think it was section 34 at the point in time. I could be wrong about the section it was. And it was an offense called having sex with. So it was once any male, and that's how it was written, you know. Any male that had sex with a female under the age of 15 or any male that had sex under the age of 13. And the scenario we were dealing with a scenario where a 15-year-old girl had sex with a 14-year-old boy. She was actually more sexually experienced than he was. But because the law only made provision for him to be charged, he was charged, even though they were in a relationship in school, and he was the one that was charged when the mother caught them, the girl's parents caught them having sex. So the boy's mother had to come to us and we had to start advocating because he has now been viewed as a rapist in the school and he couldn't go to do CXC and all these things. He was put in this case behind him. And what we found funny is that when we looked at the law pertaining to women, they inserted one word that protected a young girl from being charged for a similar offense. They put the word adult female. And it makes me wonder what was Parliament's intention, even though it's been corrected now by the Romeo Clause after all the advocacy and whatever. I still want to know that past Parliament, what was your intention? Because you knew that you would put adult female to avoid any minor girl having sex with a minor boy being arrested. But when it came to the instance of the boy, you put any male. So in other words, you put any male, and one other thing, here are the penalties that went with it. With the any male, so the 12-year-old boy faced the worst penalty, the worst case scenario he could have gotten life imprisonment. And in the vice versa, the adult female having sex with a minor boy, 5 years imprisonment was the maximum.
Right.
So all those things,
the inequality. Yes.
Correct. As I said, the Romeo Clause has corrected a lot of those things. No, but for it to even be that, and I'm not talking about long ago, it's possibly 5 years ago, it's so much.
But in my practice, what I do as counseling men and women and in relationships, I have found that quite a number of men said that they got their first sexual introduction as a boy by an older woman. Sometimes it's a teacher in the school who is a female, right? Or a relative who is a female. But we don't hear much about this, but the stories are there.
Correct. And I see it's because of we've cultured boys, men and women. So in other words, a man will culture, oh, he's a macho man. You did well, boy, he's a big one. So you believe you have some level of machismo. When a woman will say, he's a soft man, oh, you know, much man want me. I use a little boy, you want to give him something and you don't want it. He's a small man. He's a softy, them kind of things like that. So it's how we've cultured boys, whereas we've cultured girls differently. That if an older man is to approach her with sexual advances, is something that is criminal. We have not given that or put that into the minds of young boys. So it's normal. So that's why when boys are sexually assaulted, and I saw a young man, I know the media called me for recently for a commentary on that in Tobago. A young man who was, I think, beaten to death by a man who was sexually assaulting him or raping him. And he would have been going to the police. What I would have heard, but the reporter told me, making reports, and it wasn't being taken seriously. And that's the other thing. Men don't report because it's considered taboo. You may be scorned. In other words, they may look down on you. They may say, when you go snicker at you. And that is the reality of it. It's not encouraged. And when you're the same thing as I mentioned before, when you look at the television ads and you see sexual abuse, you don't see an ad with a man coming to make a report to the station, and then the police who receiving the report seems to be willing and helpful to listen to him and concerned about him being sexually assaulted, whether it's a woman that he's coming to say is sexually assaulting him or a man. You don't see ads like that to normalize male reporting of sexual abuse. So it's to them, it's going to be, if I report, I will look like I'm a soft man. If I report and it's a next man, he may heckle me. If I go and tell my brethren might start to call me all kind of funny names after. Opposed to a girl going, a woman will go to her friend to confide and say, hey, this is happening to me, and the woman will help us. So even the way we as men socialize amongst each other needs to change. You know that if your brethren come and tell you this happening to him, stand up with him. Let me go in the station. Let me see something is done. Let me go to the gender-based violence unit. You understand? If she's sexually assaulting you, things like that.
Let me say that we're going to open up the telephone lines 3877553 3877553 if you have a question for Mr. Rundle Fields, and if you have anything that, whether you're a woman or man and you want some information, because the group provides the kind of advice because they've had the experience in helping people. 3877553 is the telephone number. You can call us live, or if you wish, you could WhatsApp us if you prefer to WhatsApp, or just give us a message on give us a message on Facebook. Is it so terrible when parents use children as tools, says Cecil Mellington, to avenge some of the relationship issues? It harms the child psychologically. Yes, absolutely. Yes, so we're saying share the live, and we are going to be making a break in just a while. When we come back, we're going to open up the telephone lines 3877553. You can call us and let us hear your situation. You know, just before we go to the break, Wanda, there's a gentleman who told me that he has been maintaining his spouse financially, but never took records. But because he knows this is his child, he felt it was his responsibility to do so. She took him to court for maintenance and knew that because he had no document, nothing that he allowed her to sign, that he couldn't prove that he was paying. And he said the court, when the court ordered him for the maintenance, what they ordered was less than what he was paying her every month.
Yes,
You understand?
Yeah, you see that happen sometimes. Sometimes the child benefits more. And I remember that, as you mentioned quickly, I remember that even at that time I was paying maintenance on my older son when I was in my difficulty there. And it takes away from the child's opportunity to have an experience when they're shopping with their father and those things. Because I would go and, I mean, if it was for like games or clothes or those things, I would buy for my both sons. Because I had another, so I have another son as well. But when it came to like food stuff and supplies that I know his mother was providing, because at that time he was primarily with her, I didn't have to buy those things. So he would kind of, when I am buying things for the other son, meaning other like food stuff, and because he was by me more often,
right?
He would put his head down. So I started then to say, son, what do you want? Don't tell me your mother did you already given mommy money or whatever. Take what you want to, even if you want to take it and carry it home.
Yes.
Pick up a box of cereal and carry it home.
That's
just
right.
so
That's
you
right.
feel it out. But it then knocked into my brain what's really happening also, because sometimes some fathers can't afford to do that and have sent the income to the mother to buy the shoes and buy the sneakers and have other children. And are going to them now buy the school shoes for the other children, while that child seems to be there and standing by and looking at the experience and not being a part of it.
Yes,
So,
yes. Yeah, but I applaud the men who insist, like the gentleman who I spoke about, when the court ordered less than what he did, and his lawyer said, pay what the court said. He says, no, it's my child. I'm going to continue to pay the higher amount. I'm not going to let the court determine the level of support I get my child. And I want to applaud those kind of men, those men who stand up regardless. They're not going to allow the system and the situations to be able to cause them to relinquish and renege on their responsibilities to their children. Let's take a break, Mr. Director. We're going to come right back. 387-7553 is the telephone number for you to call us in studio.
In today's society, we need security that is trustworthy, reliable, and efficient. Rapid Response Security Services Limited is here to meet all your needs. Since 1990, this security company leads while others follow, with a commitment to provide satisfaction in service. We specialize in modern and professional security systems. Contact us at 639-3675 or 660-7418 or visit us at the Blue and White Building, Mount Mary, Scarborough, Tobago.
Double B Supermarket, 60 to 62 Government House Road, Scarborough, Tobago. All items reasonably priced, friendly staff. If you don't believe me, you call them 639-5329. If you ask them any question, they'll tell you Jesus is the answer. Den's Electronics, first floor, Port Mall Shopping Center, corner Sangsers and Milford Road, Scarborough, Tobago. Telephone number 639-3497 or 345-0470. When it comes to electronics, check Den's Electronics and just say, I heard it on Mike at Night.
Don't let the weather of the day dictate your pace. I stayed cool every time I got into my vehicle, and you can too. At Tow School Center of 31 Gaskin Bay Road, Bonaccord, they specialize in auto air conditioning with parts and services catering to your car's needs. Call and ask for tows at 660-8777 or 788-3535. Tow School Center, where a comfortable ride is a cool ride.
I see Cecil Millington on Facebook saying that even the police laugh at men who come to make reports concerning issues with men. What a pity. What a pity. I'm hoping these are just rumors. Rumors, I hope. Right, so we're talking to Mr. Rundle Fields. He's the President of Fathers Association, and we're asking you to give us a call if you have a question for him. We're talking about the stories of fathers, the system, and the people who might be against them. What services do you all provide? How can a man get help who's listening and he needs to be able to get some guidance?
Currently, what we do have, normally what we had before, before COVID was face-to-face. You could meet with someone, you could speak with someone. What we did have last year, we would have monthly Zoom chats as well. And we would have outreach officers, Mr. Grant, Mr. Anderson. I'll be honest with you, Mike, this has taken a serious toll. I've even seen on the health of some of my guys, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Grant, because what we do volunteer, and myself, what we do volunteer is 3 or 4 of us holding up the wings of all the men throughout the nation. So what I have mandated them
you ever applied for a subvention from the government given the human service that your team doing?
No, we've never done so. I mean, for some reasons, as we weren't prepared to really do that as yet. It's something that we may look at in the future. I'm not gonna say if I will be comfortable to do so anytime soon. But what we continue to do is advocate, and we're going to start doing. We're working on a Zoom session with the family court and also with the Single Mothers Association, so that we will have that now holistic approach of fathers and mothers coming together.
Collaborative effort.
In cooperative kind of fashion. We still will deal with serious issues when they come to us. But I would be honest, I have told a lot of the guys, take a lot more voice notes opposed to taking phone calls, because what people don't understand is that when a man is stressed or a father is stressed and he comes and he pours it on, it's hundreds and hundreds of people pouring it on to the 1 or 2 guys that we had. So I would be honest to say that I told the guys from our organization, when it comes to direct communication based on the voice note that you receive, if it's someone, look like there are some guys who would have called recently pertaining to wanting to commit suicide. Now that's something where we need to reach out, or if not reach out, refer someone to them. But I have been honest with those guys because I've seen it. I've seen the health of some of those guys really, really been impacted by it. So it is something, however, that I continue to say that state need to become heavily involved in. They need to strengthen national family services where it comes to counsel. Because many guys calling us for advice is one thing, that's straightforward and not easy. So we can advise you what to do. It's not a voice note, we advise you what to do. But when it comes to my counsel, and that is what is more necessary, that is something that people need. That is something that can be a one-off. That is something that that is what these men need. And it's something that I can tell you honestly that these single fathers, the Fathers Association, do not have the capacity to continue a structured counsel service. And it's something that I think is necessary because we can advise you what to do when you go to court. We can advise you the legal system, that's easy advice. But many times, these fathers, and sometimes even mothers call us, there's a Single Mothers Association, and single mothers might call us before that. So there is the need for a strong counsel network. I know we have spoken these things with the family court where we're trying to resource counselors from all the state agencies to see if they could form some multi-sectoral task force where people can get counsel. But counsel is where the Swiss say, bro, and counsel is what is needed. But counsel is something that can't be one-off. Counsel is something that must be consistent.
I know that you have a WhatsApp group that I find very resourceful because a man may express some of his challenges and other men who would have gone through them would weigh in and give advice from their experience, how they were able to get through this, where to go, and so on. So it seems as a safe space for people, men. Yes.
The Telegram group we have there, and we had to update, we had to shut the Telegram group down too, because someone compromised it. It was compromised. A young lady got on there and took some of the personal conversations that, and I mean, you were on the group and you know how much help you were giving men, their experiences there. Took some of the information, and we had to shut the group down for that. And that's why we now have to be restructuring now another form of outreach where we can get guys together in a safe space. And it goes to show all these spaces, the safe spaces of men sometimes are invaded by some women sometimes that don't have good agendas. Because you could have tested yourself, Mike, the amount of advice you was given on that group for the entire year last year. The amount of men.
It is some of those advice that I saw there that when I meet a man who's not even on the group, that I use the information that you all had there. Well, I understand this is what you have to do. This is where you have to go. These are the things you need to produce, etc. So it's unfortunate that that situation took place there.
But we're working on coming back again. As I said, we even spoke to the family court, and the family court, I know we spoke to the manager and we reached out to them, and he said he reached out even to a judge, a master, who may be willing also when we have in those Zoom sessions for him to make himself available and be a part of the entire thing. So we're looking at the safest way going forward. But as I said, that telegram was so essential for the entire year 2021, and it's really unfortunate that someone would have come and caused that kind of chaos there.
Yeah. As you spoke there, there was an event that they were supposed to have men gathering together to talk about the issues. There's some women who wanted to be part of it. And well, we said, I remember that the group said, no, we only want it for the men only, because when men talk, if a woman doesn't agree, it's very difficult for her to sit down and just listen to it. She needs to be able to correct the men and to straighten out their thinking. That's what they think. So they insisted, that no, we'll just come and we'll sit down. We wouldn't have anything to say. And so, well, I did not bother go, because from the time I heard that, I know this is not going to turn out well. But I heard later on when the report came that as the men were talking and so on, the women, they sat there till they couldn't hold it no more. And they came out and they started to set the men straight and tell them what they should be doing, what they should be thinking, and so on. And the whole meeting mashed up, and they left. Nothing was accomplished. You see?
See?
So, you
And
understand?
that's
So,
what it's about creating a safe space for men to let men be advised by other men. There's no horror or no fear in that. And I think that's the kind of insurance some women need to have in
yeah,
men on
yeah.
the
But women have the conferences and men do hustle to go inside of the conferences. They have all the speakers, women and so on. And we are okay with that from a general standpoint. But it's
Correct.
unfortunate. But I want to say not all women are that, because we have some women who really supportive,
Of
some women
course,
who
of
are
course.
very empathetic to what we're going through, etc. All right, so the
Correct.
question is, do you believe that though it is no, man, I think you have the wrong thing up there, man. Mr. Director, you have last week's um yes, I think he has last week's poll that he just put up there. All right. Okay. We do believe we down to the hour already. Is there did we get a call? So we have nobody with a question that's coming in. All right. So I want to thank Mr. Randall Fields. We'll do our own announcement and we're wrapping up after for coming in. You have been of such value, and we want to use you as a resource for further programs. I know that
No
you have a
problem.
busy schedule, but we'll try and as much as possible to give you advance notice for it.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Thank you very
Anytime,
much.
brother.
Yeah. So
Have
the
a good
polls.
night.
Do you believe that more can be done to help men who want to honor their roles as fathers? 95% of persons says yes, more can be done. 5%
Correct.
said no. All right. So when you see Mr. Rundle Fields and the group come in and saying, listen, we want to take action and come on board, please come on board. You
Yes.
95% people. Thank you very much.
Thank
Yes.
you. Have a good
All
night.
right. Nice. Thank you very much. Mr. Rundle Fields, the President Fathers Association. We are so happy to have had him, because let me tell you, he's on the ground. He knows what's taking place. Let's see if we could give a giveaway. Next week we just, if I remember, the 3rd of March, we have Tawana Williams. This is a lady born without arms. Yes, and she has an awesome story, and I want you to be able to be there with us. That's the 3rd of March. Of course, we're going to have our program next week. I have a question for somebody who wants to be able to win a hammer drill, an electrical hammer drill. Just call in and tell me something that you learned this evening from the program. Yeah, that is all you have to do. Just call in and say, this is what I learned. And we're going to ask you to get that hammer drill at Island. You're going to get that Island wire. Yes, right here in Tobago. But we could also give somebody a foot, a pedicure, whether it's a man or a woman. You could get a pedicure. Yeah. 387-7553. 387-7553. Yes, sir. Let me see what other announcement that we have. Yeah. So Mike at Night is on every Thursday, 9 o'clock. Thank you all of you who have been here with us this evening. You have been such a nice people. Let me say, it's always chaos, says Kyle. Pushy. Terrible that a woman saw the need to do that. Shows how men can't have any safe space. Joanne said, this hidden knowledge is long overdue. Men are humans too. Thank you, Joanne. Kudos to those who pulled together this program, all because of greed. I guess that is where people take people to court in order to get more money when the man is already doing what his part, etc. Even police at times laugh. Yes, we did read that. Yeah. Yeah, so men have some challenges, and they swim in up a creek in some cases, and we ignore that. So we really thank the women who give us support and who lend it and who understand the kind of challenges that we go through. All right, so let's bring the program down to an end. I want to thank our host, our director, Mr. Leon Lewis, who had made this program possible. He's there working feverishly behind the console and getting things together. We'll be with you next week, Thursday, 9 o'clock. Just remember, we're here every Thursday at 9 o'clock. Ask somebody. Make sure that you like and share and you subscribe to this channel so that you could be notified. So many great programs coming out of it. Label TV Network is it. And I am Michael Stewart, and this is Mike at Night. Have yourself a good evening now. God bless y'all.
In today's society, we need security that is trustworthy, reliable, and efficient. Rapid Response Security Services Limited is here to meet all your needs. Since 1990, this security company leads while others follow, with a commitment to provide satisfaction in service. We specialize in modern and professional security systems. Contact us at 639-3675 or 660-7418, or visit us at the Blue and White Building, Mount Mary, Scarborough, Tobago.
Den's Electronics, first floor, Port Mall Shopping Center, corner Sangsers and Milford Road, Scarborough, Tobago. Telephone number 639-3497 or 345-0470. When it comes to electronics, check Den's Electronics and just say, I heard it on Mike at Night.
Don't let the weather of the day dictate your pace. I stayed cool every time I got into my vehicle, and you can too. At Tow School Center of 31 Gaskin Bay Road, Bonaccord, they specialize in auto air conditioning with parts and services catering to your car's needs. Call and ask for tows at 660-8777 or 788-3535. Tow School Center, where a comfortable ride is a cool ride.
Double B Supermarket, 60 to 62 Government House Road, Scarborough, Tobago. All items reasonably priced, friendly staff. If you don't believe me, you call them 639-5329. If you ask them any question, they'll tell you Jesus is the answer. Not many persons know what it is like to be born with no arms.
And I was blessed to be born without arms and impaired use of my leg.
Renowned author, motivational speaker par excellence, soon to be movie star, and my friend, Hope Coach Tawana Williams, born with no arms. Tune in to Mike at Night, March 3rd at 9 p.m. on Label TV Network, on Facebook and YouTube.
She actually draws portraits with her toes. I can believe it, I can achieve it, and I'm going to do it. And
I was born to win. I've experienced abortion, motherhood, and as I said, a stroke. But guess what? I'm still here.
Hope Coach Tawana Williams, unarmed and dangerous.